Have you ever wondered why your kidneys seem to be getting weaker, even though you're really trying to eat healthy and take care of yourself? Maybe you start your morning with a banana, a big glass of orange juice, or a bowl of mixed fruit and you think, I'm doing something good for my body. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. But what if I told you that for someone with tired, overworked kidneys, some of those very healthy fruits can quietly push you closer to kidney failure without any pain, without any warning, and without anyone telling you that it might be too much? Today, I want to gently open a different window for you because, yes, there are fruits and habits that put extra strain on weak kidneys. But there are also 4 simple everyday fruits that can help lower creatinine, calm inflammation, and support your kidneys so they can keep doing their job for as long as possible. If you or someone you love has ever heard a doctor say, your creatinine is a little high, or your kidney function is going down, I want you to know, this is not the end of the story. You still have options. You still have power. And this might be one of the most important conversations you'll ever have about your health. I'm Dr. Jamie. This is The Kidney Keys, where we talk about simple, science-based ways to protect your kidneys and stay independent as long as you can. Let's start by understanding what's really happening inside those 2 small organs that work for you day and night. Most people think kidney failure happens suddenly. They imagine waking up one morning, doing a routine blood test, and suddenly being told your kidneys are failing. But in reality, kidney disease is usually a slow, silent process that can build up over many years. Every minute, your kidneys are working. They're like 2 small factories, each about the size of your fist, quietly filtering your blood, removing waste, balancing minerals, and helping control your blood pressure. You don't feel them working. You don't hear any noise. They just do their job, day after day, year after year. One picture I often use with my patients is the coffee filter. When the filter is new and clean, water pours through easily. The coffee is clear, the flow is smooth, and nothing seems wrong. But if you keep pouring more and more coffee grounds into that same filter and never give it a break, eventually it starts to clog. The water still goes through, but slower and thicker, and more residue stays behind. Your kidneys are a bit like that. Over time, if they're exposed to too much salt, too much sugar, too much blood pressure, stress, or too much waste, the tiny filters inside, called nephrons, start getting damaged. You don't feel these tiny injuries. There's no obvious pain, no alarm bell, no warning light on your forehead. On the outside, you may feel fine. On the inside, the filters are being lost, one by one. Only when enough of those tiny filters are gone does your creatinine level start to rise on a blood test. And here's the part that most people are never told clearly. By the time your creatinine is a little high, it often means you may have already lost about half of your kidney function. Half of your natural filtering power is already gone before the numbers become obviously abnormal. That's why creatinine is not just some mysterious number on a lab report. It's a message. It's your kidneys whispering, I'm tired. I need help. Please don't ignore me. And this isn't a rare problem that only happens to a few unlucky people. In the United States, millions of adults are living with some stage of chronic kidney disease. Most of them don't know it. They go to work, look after grandkids, walk the dog, cook meals, and go about daily life feeling okay, while their kidneys quietly carry more and more burden. Now, it might be easy to think, well, that must be from junk food, fast food, and soda. Those things definitely don't help, but the story is more complicated. Sometimes, the danger is hidden inside habits we've always been told are good for us, and that includes certain fruits. From childhood, many of us were taught that fruit equals health. Colorful fruit bowls, fresh juice, smoothies, these are often shown as the symbol of healthy living. Fruit is full of vitamins, water, and fiber. So how could fruit ever be a problem? The truth is, for someone whose kidneys are still strong, most fruits are wonderful. But when your kidneys are already struggling, not all fruits are equal. Some fruits can quietly overload your body with minerals and sugars that your damaged kidneys can no longer handle efficiently. Let me give you a very real example from what I see in clinic. A patient in their late 60 seconds or early 70 seconds, comes in and sits down in front of me. They say, "Doctor, I don't understand. I don't smoke. I cut back on red meat. I eat fruit every morning. I'm doing my best. So why is my creatinine still going up?" Their effort is sincere. Their heart is in the right place. On paper, they're trying so hard to do the right thing. Then we take a closer look at breakfast. 2 bananas, a large glass of orange juice, sometimes a bowl of melon on the side. It looks like a beautiful, healthy breakfast. But in a body with weak kidneys, that single meal can deliver a big load of potassium and sugar all at once. Potassium is not bad. In a healthy person, it's essential. It helps keep your heart rhythm steady, your muscles working, and your nerves firing properly. But when your kidneys are damaged, they can't remove extra potassium efficiently. That potassium can stay in your blood, silently building up. If levels get too high, it can disturb your heart rhythm the way a sudden electrical storm can affect a quiet night sky. Too much, too quickly, and it can become very dangerous. On top of that, some fruits and juices are also high in natural sugars, like fructose. In moderate amounts, that's usually fine. But in large amounts, especially for someone with diabetes or prediabetes, that sugar can fuel inflammation and oxidative stress inside the kidneys, adding more irritation to an already sensitive organ. And certain foods and drinks can also add phosphorus, a mineral that, when elevated, can cause calcium to build up in your blood vessels, making them stiff and less flexible. That's the last thing your kidneys need. So you can see the paradox. You might be eating fruit to protect your health, and at the same time, if your kidneys are weak, those same fruits, especially in big servings, especially in juice form, may be making the kidney's job harder instead of easier. This doesn't mean all fruit is bad. It means we need to be more selective. We need to choose fruits that are gentle on the kidneys and supportive, and we need to be thoughtful about portions. This is where the hopeful part begins, because there are fruits that work with your kidneys, not against them. There are fruits that help lighten the load instead of adding more. I want to share 4 of them with you now: apples, blueberries, red grapes, and pineapple. Think of these as your kidney's allies, small everyday helpers that fit easily into your routine. Let's start with apples. Apples are simple, familiar, and often overlooked because they seem ordinary. But for kidney health, they're quietly powerful. Compared with many other fruits, apples are relatively low in potassium, which makes them safer for most people with stage 3 or 4 kidney disease than a banana or a big glass of orange juice. But the real gift of the apple is in the peel. The skin of the apple is rich in a type of soluble fiber called pectin. You don't need to remember the name, but it helps to know what it does. Pectin works like a gentle sponge or magnet inside your gut. It can bind to some toxins and a portion of the phosphorus in the intestines and help carry them out of the body through your stool. That means a little less waste and a little less phosphorus reaching your kidneys. In other words, the apple peel gives your kidneys a bit of extra backup. The peel also contains natural plant compounds, antioxidants like quercetin and chlorogenic acid that help calm inflammation and protect tissues from damage, including the delicate tissues inside your kidneys. And because apples have a low glycemic index, they raise your blood sugar more slowly than many sweets and snacks, which is especially helpful if your kidney problems are connected to diabetes. A practical way to use apples is very simple. Aim for 1 medium apple a day, washed well, with the skin left on. You can eat it as a snack, slice it into a bowl of oatmeal, or add it to a small salad. It may feel like a small act, but over time, these small acts add up. Now, let's move to blueberries. Blueberries are tiny, but they carry a lot of power in their dark blue skins. They're naturally low in potassium and phosphorus, which already makes them a good choice for people with kidney disease. But their true strength lies in their color. That deep blue comes from compounds called anthocyanins. You don't need to memorize the term, but I want you to picture what they do. They act like bodyguards for your cells. They help calm inflammation and neutralize harmful molecules that can damage tissues. Some research suggests these berry compounds can reach the kidney tissue itself, where they may help protect the tiny blood vessels and filters. That's important because the kidneys are essentially a tangle of microscopic blood vessels. When those vessels stay healthy and flexible, filtration is better. I had a patient, a retired teacher I'll call Susan, who loved her morning smoothies. Her creatinine was rising little by little. Instead of telling her to give up fruit completely, we made smarter choices. We swapped out some of the high potassium fruits and added half a cup of blueberries 3 to 4 times a week. 6 months later, her kidney function had stabilized. It didn't become perfect, but it stopped worsening at the same pace. She told me, "Doctor, I feel like my body finally stopped fighting itself. To use blueberries, you don't need anything fancy. Half a cup of fresh or frozen blueberries a few times per week is enough to help. You can sprinkle them over yogurt, oatmeal, or simply eat them by the handful. Frozen blueberries are fine. Freezing does not destroy the helpful compounds." Next are red and purple grapes. Most people know that grapes, especially dark ones, are good for the heart. Fewer people realize they can also be friends to your kidneys. The key compound here is resveratrol, found mainly in the skins of red and purple grapes. Resveratrol helps turn on certain repair proteins in your cells, often called longevity proteins, that support DNA repair, reduce inflammation, and help cells cope with stress. This matters a lot in kidney disease because kidney cells are constantly exposed to high levels of waste and fluctuating blood pressure. The protective compounds in grapes, along with other polyphenols, help keep the blood vessels flexible and healthy. Remember, your kidneys are full of tiny blood vessels. The better they function, the better your filtration. However, grapes do contain natural sugar, so portion size is important, especially if you have diabetes. A reasonable amount is about 15 to 20 dark red or purple grapes, eaten 2 or 3 times a week, ideally as part of a meal rather than on an empty stomach. Always eat the skins, because that's where most of the protective resveratrol lives. And while a glass of red wine also contains some resveratrol, for kidney health, especially if you already have kidney problems, I generally recommend getting it from the whole fruit instead of alcohol. Finally, let's talk about pineapple. Many people think of pineapple as a treat or something that shows up in sweet cocktails or desserts on vacation. But fresh pineapple can actually be one of the more kidney-friendly tropical fruits if you use it the right way. Compared with bananas or certain orange juices, pineapple is lower in potassium. More importantly, it contains an enzyme called bromelain, especially concentrated in the core of the fruit. Bromelain helps your body break down proteins and has anti-inflammatory properties, meaning it can help reduce some of the irritation and swelling that affect tissues, including the kidneys. Pineapple also provides vitamin C, which supports your immune system and acts as an antioxidant, providing further protection to your cells. And it has a gentle, natural diuretic effect, helping your body move extra fluid and waste without being as harsh as some strong medications. The key is to choose fresh pineapple, not canned. Canning and heavy syrup can destroy or dilute the helpful bromelain and add a lot of extra sugar. Aim for about half to 1 cup of fresh pineapple, including a little bit of the core, 2 or 3 times a week. Eat it as a snack or dessert, but try to avoid mixing it with sugary syrups or ice creams. Now that you've met these 4 fruits, apples, blueberries, red grapes, and pineapple, the next question is, how do you turn this into a routine you can actually follow without feeling overwhelmed? One simple way is to use a weekly rotation. This helps you remember what to eat and gives your kidneys a variety of helpful nutrients in a gentle rhythm. For example, you might choose apples on Mondays and Thursdays, 1 medium apple with the peel on. On Tuesdays and Fridays, you have your blueberry days. Half a cup of fresh or frozen blueberries in your yogurt or oatmeal. On Wednesdays, you enjoy grape day, 15 to 20 dark red or purple grapes with your lunch or as a snack. And on weekends, Saturday and Sunday, you treat yourself to fresh pineapple, half to 1 cup, chilled and eaten plain. By following this kind of rotation, you're not flooding your system with too much of any one thing. Instead, you're feeding your body a steady supply of fiber, antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory compounds in a way that's easier for your kidneys to handle. To make this even simpler, you can prepare ahead. Wash and slice your apples and dip them briefly in water with a bit of lemon juice to keep them from browning. Portion your blueberries into small containers and cut up a fresh pineapple to store in sealed containers in the fridge for a couple of days. I once worked with a patient named Mark who thought healing meant being perfect. He tried strict diets, cutting out almost everything he enjoyed, and he was miserable. He couldn't keep it up. We changed the plan. Instead of perfection, we focused on consistency. We used this fruit rotation, lowered his salt, added a short daily walk, and simplified his meals. After a few months, his creatinine had decreased a little, his swelling in the legs improved, and he told me he finally slept through the night without his legs feeling heavy and tight. It wasn't magic. It was small, steady steps. Of course, fruit alone is not the whole story. If you truly want to protect your kidneys, you need to see the bigger picture of your lifestyle. These fruits are tools, not miracles. They work best when they're part of an overall pattern that's kind to your kidneys. That means being more gentle with salt, choosing reasonable portions of protein instead of very high-protein crash diets, staying hydrated in a balanced way, not chugging huge amounts of water all at once, and following your doctor's advice if you have fluid restrictions, and paying attention to your blood sugar if you have diabetes or pre-diabetes. It also means honoring your sleep and managing your stress as best you can. When you're stressed all the time, your body releases hormones that can raise blood pressure and blood sugar. Both of those put extra strain on your kidneys. Think of your kidneys as two hard-working employees who never clock out. When you overload them day after day with salt, sugar, processed foods, and uncontrolled blood pressure or blood sugar, it's like dumping a huge stack of dirty dishes on their desk every night and expecting them to smile and keep going. But when you give them support, healthier food choices, enough rest, consistent hydration, and these gentle kidney-friendly fruits, you're helping those same employees catch up and do their jobs without burning out. They may not be able to go back to being brand new, but they can stabilize. They can protect you for longer. They can give you more time, living the life you want to live. So here's my invitation to you. If you've been told your creatinine is creeping up, or you know you're living with early kidney disease, don't just feel scared. Take that fear and turn it into action. Give yourself a simple, doable challenge for the next 7 days. For 1 week, use the fruit rotation we talked about. Add apples, blueberries, red grapes, and pineapple in the pattern that works for you. At the same time, lighten the salt in your cooking. Avoid very salty processed foods and drink water steadily throughout the day, unless your doctor has given you a specific limit. Notice how you feel your energy, your swelling, your sleep. Don't expect miracles overnight, but pay attention to the small changes. Remember, you are not powerless. Your kidneys may be tired, but they are not fragile glass. They are resilient, and they've been trying to protect you for years through stress, dehydration, late nights, and heavy meals. Now they're simply asking you to meet them halfway. Every apple with the peel on, every handful of blueberries, every small bowl of grapes or pineapple, every mindful choice you make is like a quiet message to your body that says, I'm on your side. If what you heard today opened your eyes or gave you a bit of hope, don't keep it to yourself. Chances are, someone you know is walking around with kidney problems and has no idea what small steps they can take. Sharing this information could be the moment that helps them change their future. And if you'd like more guidance like this simple, science-based ideas to protect your kidneys and stay independent, consider subscribing to The Kidney Keys and turning on the notification bell so you'll know when new videos are available. We're here to walk this path with you, one small step at a time. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for caring about your health and believing that your body still has the ability to heal and improve. Take care of your kidneys, and they will do their best to take care of you for the rest of your life.